I'd like to thank you for your strong leadership. I wanted to tell you, I had a farmer from Ohio that was down in the beef barn. I co-chair that committee, and he started talking to me about politics. And he started talking about the pluses of Trump, and I said, you don't need to tell me that. I said, I know it. I said, and we need to carry Pennsylvania. He said, well, I'm going to tell you right now. I want to wager with you. I don't know you, but here's my name and address, and here's my card. And I want to wager with you that we're going to have more votes in Ohio than you're going to have in Pennsylvania. And he meant farm votes. He meant the rural vote. So I've taken his bet, because I usually, I'm pretty stingy, I'm pretty tight, I'm pretty conservative. But I took his bet, and I kept his card. So I'm going to really work hard, because I have a really vested interest now.
I don't want you to lose that bet, Mike.
No, I don't want to lose that bet. But in the same token, if I do, and he carries Ohio also, I don't care about giving up that money, because I know I'll get it back, you know, if he stays in office, whether it be a 401k, whether it be the stock market, you know, he's done a lot of good for us. So, you know, thank you for your strong words. But I just wanted to share this with you. I do a project in Lancaster County. It's called Project for the Needy. Every Christmas Eve, we give out 2,000 food baskets, and which has turkeys, loaf of bread, gallon of milk. But we have volunteers. We had 400 volunteers that come out at 4 o'clock in the morning to help us with these boxes. And this gentleman came up to me, and he was well dressed, and he said, I just want to tell you, I'm a Mexican. I just returned from Mexico City. And he said, I saw you on TV, and I know you support Trump, and I just wanted to let you know that I also support Trump. I said, oh. And he said, I just returned from Mexico City, and I said, well, how does your president of Mexico feel about President Trump? And he said, he likes President Trump, which surprised me, quite frankly. Then I asked him, I said, well, what about the wall? Doesn't that cause ill feelings? He said, absolutely not. He said, that wall is good. I said, how do you think the wall is good? And he explained, it helps curtail the drug shipments coming into Pennsylvania. And he said he's in favor of the wall. But I have his name and address, and he would like to start a Mexican coalition for Trump. I think he has his heart into it, and I think he would do a good job for us. At this time, I did overlook one thing, and that I'm going to put Boots on the spot. Boots knows a lot of our legislators, and I'm going to put Boots on the spot to introduce our legislators that are in attendance today. And Boots, take a peek around the room with your memory bank. I know you'll know quite a few.
One, two. Anybody else I'm not seeing? I've seen John Hershey, who's a junior out of Perry, Mifflin County, and those of us who are old timers would recognize Art Hershey, who's actually a grandfather. His dad, Brad, runs the Mifflinburg International Harvest Championship. John, this is your second term in office, right?
Hopefully soon to be my second term.
Okay.
I'm still in my first. Yeah.
Right, it's 2020 election year.
Yeah.
Weren't you just recently engaged?
Yes, about 2 months ago.
Yeah, let's give him a round of applause for getting engaged.
See Dave Sherman from the Lancaster County. Dave was our champion for the people who were produce growers down in the High Tunnel bill. That was a situation where some of the townships and counties were putting an assessment on portable greenhouses and temporary structures, and Dave fought that battle with Farm Bureau and with the Pennsylvania growers. Did a great job of getting us some relief in that situation. But thanks a lot, Dave, for your support there.
Mark Keller.
Oh, Mark! Oh my God. My friend Mark Keller was commissioner down in Perry County years ago, and put me and George Gregg on a hot seat a couple of times. But that's a long time ago. We got past that, Mark. Mark, obviously on the Ag Committee, very strong supporter of Ag. But the side note, there's an agricultural event up at the Penn State. Last football game is Ag Penalty Live, and we raise about between $30,000 and $50,000 each year for the Ag Scholarship Foundation. And part of it's an auction, and Mark gets up there every year, and he's quite comical and quite a lot of fun on the auction up there at Penn State. So my point is, he's the kind of guy that gives all the time. He doesn't ask me, volunteers, helps. He always supports Ag. if I ever had any ag issues, I'd always go to Mark for help and support. He does it for growers and farm bureau over the years, so didn't realize he was gonna retire, so sorry to hear that, but thank you, Mark, for your service, so. Anybody else that I missed in the
Well,
group?
Mark was also on the Farm Show Commission too.
Yes, he was our Farm Show Commissioner, but you forgot our former Secretary of Agriculture, George Gregg, who's in attendance today, and Dennis Stuckey, County Commissioner in Lancaster County. He has done, what's that? Former County Commissioner. He did an outstanding job for Lancaster County, and now he's going to be running for Auditor General. And if he does half the job he did as Commissioner, the Auditor General's position will be in good hands, let me tell you. We also have with us Congressman Muser and Congressman Thompson, and at 6 o'clock tonight, they're competing in a celebrity Surrey race, which is taking place in the equine arena. They will be driving draft horses, and they're well experienced, aren't you, GT and Dan? But they'll be competing at 6 o'clock. It'll be a fun event. At this time, I'd like to, I can only give you a couple minutes, GT and Dan, if you want to do a tag team and give us a congressional update.
Dean anywhere.
Well, and what's nice, Boots has a picture of Nancy Pelosi. She'd like to have you get autographed.
Just get that to me, Boots. I'll take care of it for you. Hey, well, good afternoon.
No danger.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here. Thank you to the Pennsylvania Agricultural Republicans. I mean, you guys, this organization, the Republican Party, and specifically this organization is on the front lines of defending our rural values and making sure that rural America is robust. Rural Pennsylvania has a robust economy because to make sure we have the right elected officials providing the right types of policies. And we're up against it right now in Washington, the House of Representatives. I mean, that's all over cable news. We don't need to talk a lot about that. You see what's going on. I want to share with you just a little bit of an update of some things that we've been working on. We've, in the 116th Congress, and it was Republican-led, we passed probably the first update since in a very long time to the FFA charter. That was, you know, FFA has always been a force for good since 1928. And we made some minor changes, minor improvements, articulating what the FFA has been doing by showing a close relationship with career and technical education training, which is perfect when you think about FFA. It starts with agriculture education. We've got that done actually, and President Trump signed that into law, and that was one of the few bipartisan things that Speaker Pelosi's allowed us to even bring to the table. The milk situation, our number one commodity, is we still are working on the whole milk for healthy kids. We've got some reasonably good, I wish the jurisdiction of that was in the Agriculture Committee. We'd have had that done a long time ago. Unfortunately, it's in Education and Labor, and we do have good bipartisan sponsorship. The dairy industry has been wonderful. Working with them, they've reached out, and I knew we have a critical mass, I think, of support in the Education and Labor Committee. Now we just need the chairman to be willing to bring it to the table. We're probably within 6 months of hearing from the FDA in terms of the labeling issue when it comes to milk. You know, milk really only comes from a mammal. The rest of it's all juice, as far as I'm concerned. And the FDA did ask for comments, and we're probably within 6 months for them publishing a final rule. I'm optimistic, because when they asked for comments, they put it in the context of they felt there was consumer harm being done, that certain beverages that were not milk were being advertised as being milk, and therefore consumers were being misled on the nutritional opportunity. I'm not against soy milk or soy juice or almond juice or any other juice that you want to have. Those are agriculture commodities, and that's great. But I think we're all for honesty when it comes to labeling. We do have two great trade agreements. The USMCA, Proud that we passed that out of the House of Representatives, and that will be excellent. As Mike said, a huge amount of milk gets sold out of California into Mexico, but we've also been shut out of Canada. And one of the things that President Trump did, the last thing he held out for was to make sure that Canada would do away with its Class 6, Class 7 milk, which prevented our exporting fluid milk. They were also, Canada's supply management system was so poorly designed, they didn't know what to do with what they had, so they were flooding third world countries with some of their components, lactose and whey and powdered milk. This USMCA actually opens those third world countries back up to us here in the United States. And finally, I think by last I heard about the middle of January, we're supposed to have the signing of phase 1 of the Canadian trade agreement. That will be excellent for agriculture. $50 billion in agriculture purchases. You know, China. China's only ever purchased about 24 billion from the United States. So that's a doubling impact. And just at the very end of this negotiation, we were able to get hardwoods. And Pennsylvania's the #1 hardwood country, state in the nation. And we're able to get hardwoods as a part of that $50 billion, which will be huge for Pennsylvania forest products. We're losing sawmills in particular, the industry, and we can't afford to do that. So that only came because of interventions of actually the Pennsylvania delegation, Republican delegation. We got that in meeting with Ambassador Lighthizer. We were able to get hardwoods included.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dean. So we refer to GT in Washington and elsewhere. He leads our delegation and really does a great job. If we all do a good job in this coming year and win back the House, there's a pretty good chance GT will be chairman of the Agricultural Committee. So I think that will be very meaningful. You know, it's going to be great. I wouldn't say if, I say when. And the reason I say that is, you know, if you really look at things, you know, we heard the saying, there was a saying once that went, what's good for GM is good for our country. Well, you know what? What's good for farmers is good for our country. What's good for manufacturing is good for our country. And think about the great difference between what the Republicans are bringing to policy and to leadership in general versus where the Democrats are. Not only has the left wing, if you will, taken over the whole bird, they are voting in unison. The Democrat Party, even those who state that they are moderates, vote with Speaker Pelosi 100% of the time, 98% of the time on the low level, which also means that they're voting with Omar and AOC and others 95 to 96% of the time. There's a great difference between us, very clear difference. Think about from a farmer standpoint, which of course you would. Taxes, right? We want to keep them competitive. We want to keep them low. They want to raise them. Health insurance. We're working on private sector solutions to deliver quality, choice, access. They're looking at a big government approach that frankly will cost $32 trillion. Illegal immigration. We want a proper handling of it that starts with border security so we know who's in our country, so we're keeping drugs out, and we have an organized approach that, yes, includes extended work visas for the agriculture and the service industry, and perhaps other industries, as long as it's an organized approach. We are taking a very responsible, long-term view that will make our country that much more competitive and all of our countrymen and women along the way. Look at what's been done on trade. GT mentioned it, but the USMCA will, at worst case, add, say, about $200 million to dairy, just to Canada, but it will do so many other things. What's going to pass with the China treaty? We've gone from a trade war, folks, to a trade treaty, and this will be signed within the next couple of weeks. Do you know between November and December, soybean exports doubled just over the course of that month in anticipation? And as GT mentioned, the level of agricultural purchases by Asia, by China, will double virtually from 26 billion to 50 billion dollars. The highest it's ever been was 2017, 26 billion. And I just say this, the more free market, the more our government allows our farmers and our businesses and our manufacturers to be competitive and to allow for things, remove the heavy hand of government and allow for things such as AHPs, Association Health Plans, which worked fabulously well for farmers, that the Obama administration took away, and the Democrats still want to continue to prohibit in any health care bill they bring to the floor. I would say if we can do these things, if we can discuss what we are doing to make our country better, to make farming better, to make manufacturers better, to increase the disposable income of Americans, we can win overwhelmingly this year, and not just have a good year, but truly have a great decade. And Chairman, your words, by the way, were right on. I'm really proud you are, Chairman. I mean, you really said it well. And you know, things are going to be close. Pennsylvania is the key, right? So if you look at it, the fact that we got 67 counties, if we can assure to bring in those extra, some of those extra registrants that you referred to, or even 200, 300, 400 more votes per county, then we will walk away with it, and we won't have to wait up till 3 o'clock in the morning this time around. But thank you. It's an absolute honor, by the way, to serve a portion of Pennsylvania in Congress, and we as a delegation look at it as if we're serving our districts, but we serve and represent and be the voice for all of Pennsylvania. Lastly, Mike Firestein, nobody does things better. This guy, I don't kid, I said it fully, truthfully, he does more by 11 o'clock in the morning than most people do in two days. So, but thanks, Mike. Thanks for the opportunity.
Elections do make a difference. Our rural economy has been in decline now for 7 years. And it's primarily because of two agriculture commodities. Cotton, which we don't grow a lot of cotton. We don't grow any that I know of. I've learned a lot about it. Preparing hopefully to be the first member of Congress from Pennsylvania to ever chair the Agriculture Committee. The other one is dairy. Elections make a difference. It was the Democrats in 2010 that demonized milk fat. Took it out of the schools. And it led to childhood obesity because these kids are going to drink a beverage, and it's usually something that's not so healthy as an alternative. And it has led to the decline of our dairy farms and our rural economy. And so elections make a difference. The other thing, just a point of privilege to take, we lost a great public servant this morning. I came in late, so I don't know if this was mentioned yet or not, but Mike Fitzpatrick passed away this morning. Mike, I'm proud to serve with Mike Fitzpatrick for a number of years when I first came to Congress. Eagle Scout, just a great Republican member of Congress from Bucks County. That seat today is held by his brother, Brian Fitzpatrick. And so if I wouldn't mind just a brief moment of silence to remember that the patriot that we lost today, and to mourn his death, but more than that, celebrate his life. Thank you.